and welcome back to the Searching for Happiness podcast. I am your host, Joseph Grable, and it's good to be back. Today, I have a very special guest with me, someone who I've grown to know over the last year or so. And before, while I was taking a break, I really got to know this individual. We've been good friends, and he is definitely on the come up, so he's someone you should be looking out for. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest is Timmy Swerve. How you doing today, my guy?
Yeah. What up, brother? I'm
Nothing much.
excellent.
Thank you for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Of course,
Appreciate
man.
you.
And
Yeah.
it's crazy to finally be here because I know the whole time we've known each other, I've been like on a hiatus,
Yeah.
and so I haven't really been able to actually get you on.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of my hiatus stems from mental health as well. So we're gonna get more into that as well.
Definitely.
For you, I know you're a very physical person. Workout wise, fitness wise,
Yeah.
and I know your whole life, you kind of hail from DeSales University. You grew up in New York, but you were born in Cali.
Yes.
But a part of your life has always been fitness.
Yeah, man.
I know you went to college and you ended up playing pro ball, but you also did baseball and track in high school. So my first question would be is what made you choose basketball? And why did you want to go with that in college rather than track or baseball?
Yeah, that's a good question. I I chose basketball because of how I learned it, and when I was around certain people, I played multitude of sports, but basketball I learned around a group of people. My dad, he worked at a rehab center in upstate New York, and that's when I learned how to play basketball. And it was a a campus filled with people coming off drugs and alcohol, coming from all different backgrounds, and I ended up making some relationships with them. They kind of put me under the wing, so I was a part of like a group, and basketball was the forefront of like what I was doing with this group. So I think I just chose that because of how I learned in the environment I was in when I picked up the basketball.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they took me under the wing, so it was.
That's good. How long
It was
how
good.
how long have you been playing basketball before you fully committed?
I played basketball my whole life, bro. But I started taking the craft, you know, on for myself, like
Mhm.
really developing that around. That's middle school days.
Middle
Yeah,
school
I
days.
remember like
It's good
training. Yeah, I remember like really training. I was like that young boy outside in the snow because I'm from New York, so we outside in the snow. Like that's a thing,
Mhm.
out here in LA. They don't know that grind.
No, they don't.
They don't know how
I
to
know a little
live.
bit because of Oregon and stuff, but like I
Yeah.
always feel like it'd be absolute chaos here if it even snowed a flake.
Bro, they wouldn't handle it right.
No.
But I was outside training and practicing, and then obviously after are in the sport, then I'm watching highlights, and I really resonated with Allen Iverson. He was, for those who don't know, amazing
Yeah.
point guard on the 76ers, very short guy too. So I was always like, I was very, I was smaller when I was growing up.
Mhm.
Like I usually was the shortest amongst like basketball players. Like in real life, regular life, I was alright, but amongst other basketball players, I usually was the shortest. So when I found Allen Iverson and saw his success, that motivated me to want to pave my way as an undersized basketball player.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And then, going forward, as you decided that you wanted to pursue basketball, were there a lot of, college offers or was there any choice you had to kind of really make to
Yeah.
decide where you wanted to be? And then what made you want to choose DeSale University?
Yeah, I definitely grew a lot during like as far as like my own mental and my mindset. I grew a lot during my basketball career at a young age too, because I feel
Mhm.
like I did go through a lot for the age I was at. And that being said, it came in the form of a couple injuries right towards the end of my high school career. So to answer your question, yes, I had a couple offers. That I had one offer from St. Francis of Brooklyn Heights, which was a D1 school that I really
Mhm.
liked, and I would train with them during the summers in 11th grade and 12th grade. So they had their eye on me,
Okay.
and I was projected to go there. And I had a college, St. Bonaventure, upstate New York, pretty much lower level D1 schools. I had two or three of those. And then I had a bunch of D2 schools that were looking at me Um, so eventually, like the sales I went to the last 2 years of my college career,
That's
but
right, because you went to other colleges
yeah.
as well.
So like I got injured my high school, my senior year in high school, going into my senior year, and I was leading my state in scoring at that point. So my junior year in high school led Long Island, all of New York in scoring. So I was doing well. Yeah, I was doing well, and then tore my knee up that summer, and then when I went back into my senior year, I still had a pretty good year, but my grades kind of suffered a bit because I was recovering from surgery. Also, two of my best friends got kicked out of school who were on the basketball team. There was just a lot going on my senior year, and I had to make some decisions. And shout out to my parents, great people, but some people didn't, they didn't know the exact advice and to give me as far as like how long I should be trying to recover for, what type of conversation should I be having with these coaches. So whatever, I was thrown into like a whirlwind, and I ended up making the choice of going to a junior college, upstate New York, right out of high school. So to answer your question, yeah, I had a lot of offers, got injured, and then I ended up going to junior college to get my grades back and fully recover with my knee.
That's not like a bad choice though, too. I that's where I started, was junior college.
Yeah,
as well,
yeah, no, no,
I
definitely.
eventually made my way out here and graduated. So, I
Yeah.
always think that's a good way to go, anyways, regardless.
Yeah, I'm glad it's an option.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely, and it's a much cheaper option as well. I don't think a lot of people
Facts.
realize how much of a cheaper option that is.
Facts.
Walk me through kind of like your mental health during that time too, though. Like, you got injured,
Yeah.
your friends got kicked out. What do you believe kind of got you out of that rut to get you motivated again?
Yeah, I mean, not to sound fully like that, but I think it was something outside of me, because as crazy as that might seem, I was in a dark place, but I've always had this like this drive in me. Like it was always like next day though, I would have I had a lot of bad days back to back, but the next day there was always some glimmer of hope, and whatever form that came into. So I did have music also during this time. So music helped me out a lot too, because my whole life my identity was basketball and being an athlete, and I found music probably my 10th grade year in high school, just playing around, rapping with friends, freestyling. Didn't make any songs just yet, but definitely had a love for music. So what got me through the times was definitely the hope, because like I don't take no for an answer when it comes to myself. So even though I was going through all these things, I'm like, nah, I'm gonna recover. Like I'm gonna get back. So that drive translated into me trying to get healthy again. So I was going through a lot of hard times, not going, the scholarships didn't work out, but I kept pushing to get better, especially with my body, So I took that challenge. That's where like my fitness journey started too. Before that, it was all fun and games. You're hooping, you're not stretching. You're just going out there playing because you're young and you're able to do that. But as soon as there's a little speed bump, you gotta adjust. And for me, that's what I did. So that's what got me through it. My drive in general, but then also just not accepting like a loss for myself, because I think there's always something you could try to do.
Do you think fitness obviously it had a huge part in you getting better, but is it still part of like your day to day? I know you are a fitness professional, like you're a professional trainer.
Yeah.
Do you think it helps your mental health a lot?
Fitness? Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, that's where I check in. That's how I check into my days usually. And what I mean by that is, if I don't check in with fitness, it's probably a different type of day for me. It's probably either I have to be somewhere else, but if it's ever my choice, I'm checking into the gym, because that's where just I don't know. It's just such a low hanging fruit for me. I could control that part about my life, like how I feel and how I look, and how much, and like I can really gauge my discipline like that too. So it's just like a great tool for me for life, because I check into the gym. Yeah,
That's
for
good.
sure.
I like that. And for someone who's, I would say, particularly skinny like me, right, and has a hard time getting
I
gains.
wouldn't say skinny. He's lean.
I ain't no
He's
twig,
lean, ladies and gentlemen. He's lean. Yeah.
But you know, based on, like, for me, I know we've talked about fitness several
Yeah.
times. When someone, say, is skinny and they have a hard time kind of gaining weight and, like, bulking up, what would you suggest?
Yeah, you gotta look at your diet first and foremost, because a lot of people will say that I'm just naturally lean, I can't put on weight. It does take discipline at the end of the day.
That's
So
always been my excuse.
yeah. I mean, and it's a valid excuse because that is your hiccup, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But other people have other hiccups, you know. Some people can't lift heavy weight because of whatever injury or whatever. There's always an option, and you have to be willing to investigate that option too. So for someone who's lean, can't put on weight, I would say check your diet. I'm sure there's a lot of area of opportunity to eat a bit more of this, obviously healthy options, but um yeah, you got to check into the diet first and foremost, and then start somewhere in the gym. Wherever you start, just try to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing. Like, you're just trying to build momentum. Like any goal you have, that's been my new just mindset, which is just gaining momentum. So starting somewhere, be consistent there, and eventually you'll trend in the direction you want to trend in. But I could talk about the fitness. I don't know how in depth you want to get, but
Go
my
as in
general,
depth as you want, man.
yeah,
I'll never forget. Like, I think the best piece of advice you ever gave me, because I've asked you this question in person, like,
yeah,
just in private conversations. It's something I never knew. It's like you told me, like, eat your body weight in protein.
yeah,
That, like, blew my mind, dude. Like, it really
yeah,
did, because I was like, huh. I was like, that's like, and especially I'm only like 140 pounds, so
right,
that's really not that hard for me to do as to
yeah,
where someone that's more approaching 200 pounds. Like, I could easily, if I eat chicken breast, eggs,
yeah,
lean beef, dude, like, I could get all that in like one day.
yeah, yeah.
Easily.
I think that this would be my advice if I took it a step further. Get a app that will help log your diet and like show you how much protein is in a given serving of whatever it may be. And then once you have that, like you're the goal would be for anybody who's trying to put on muscle or kind of maintain where they're at and slowly trend up, you want to eat your weight in grams of protein. So just being in the industry as long as I have, most people are not eating 100 grams of protein. Most people have a lot of trouble eating 100 grams. And at the end of the day, these are all just goals to hit, but the overall point is just up your protein. Just strive for it. Even if you don't hit it, that should be an emphasis for
there's
your
protein
day.
like everywhere. That's the thing
You
I've
can
been
grab
learning
it, yeah.
since we've had that conversation. There's just protein in almonds. There's protein
Yeah.
in just avocados, dude.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
protein is everywhere. You just have to be looking for it.
Looking for it and logging it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was the app? It was MyFitnessPal,
My
right?
Fitness Pal.
MyFitnessPal.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, write stuff down. Like any goal you have, and you like have to keep yourself accountable because accountability will get you consistent and get you towards the goal. Log it. Like write it down somewhere. For me, it's My Fitness Pal because I could look back at the days. Everything's ebb and flow, so it's unfortunate. But like I said, momentum is huge, and the only way you can catch it is if you're consistent. And if you're not if you're not at least tracking to see where your consistency is, then you'll just never know how close you could have been, or it's just hard to gauge it.
Mm-hmm.
So logging and keeping track of where you're at is just super important. But everybody can improve where they're at. So don't stay competitive within yourself and require more from yourself. You'll be happier like that.
I love that. That kind of brings me to my next question too. Is what does your day to day look like on a fitness level?
Fitness level, okay. I steam every day, so steaming is great for your skin, your respiratory system. It's good. It could be used as a warm up before a workout because it gets your joints, muscles nice and loose. So I do that. I usually do that in the morning. And then after that, I try to get a workout in the morning. That's ideal for me. Sometimes it's a bit later, but morning is a great time for me to attack my fitness goals. And I'm working out 6 days a week. But for an average day, working out in the morning about hour and 15 minutes. You don't really need to be in the gym longer than that.
That's going to be my next question.
Yeah. I mean, it depends where you're at and who you are, but I've been lifting for a while. So I would say going over an hour makes sense for me, but if you're brand new, like 30-45 minutes of movement will do a lot, and then you build on top of that. So I wouldn't say there's like a clear time frame you should be in the gym, but depending on your goals, and fitness is always customized. Like that's why it's like it's a beautiful thing, if you can get a baseline level of education for yourself, or there's a lot of resources out there, customize it for yourself, so it's something special for you, and you're working towards something that you thought of. And yeah, so yeah, 45 minute, hour 15-minute workout. Then after that, I'm getting some protein, and I'm trying to stretch more. So ideally, I'll try to stretch early in the morning or later at night, just for mobility work and everything like that. But that's kind of how my regimen looks.
That's kind of like how my day-to-day starts to kind of look like. It's like, because, I got sober and stuff. So my progressiveness, like, I'm trying to keep myself busy all the time.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing I found that I have to do now recently is stretch. Like, otherwise I will hurt the next day. I'm not used to that because my body's been young for quite some time. And now that I'm kind of in my mid-20s, it's starting to slow down. My joints are starting to kind of get older and stuff like that. What are, I would say, your top 5 favorite best stretches to do?
Well, definitely there's a stretch called 90-90 stretch. So that's really stretches out your glutes, stretches out your hamstrings a bit. You're pretty much sitting on the floor and you kind of open up your hips. You're leaning to one side, then you're rotating. That's a good one because it get hips, glutes. And for me, like, I'm always trying to stretch out my hips and like my glutes and my hamstrings, just because a lot of my lifts, I'm doing squats, I'm doing deadlifts. That's a lot of stimuli on the back part of your body. So I want to keep that nice and loose. And like, walking, running, it keeps your posture nice when you keep everything loose, especially in the back half of your body. It's usually underactive for a lot of people, the back part. So I focus on that. Other stretches, I mean, I would say even foam rolling. Like, there's 2 tools I use in the gym, so I'll answer your question like that. Foam rolling is great. That's pretty much, you've seen a foam roller before?
Yeah, I use it.
Yeah. So your muscles obviously get tense. They tighten up when you're walking, when you're working out. So stretching is good because it elongates and rests your muscles, but foam rolling is an amazing tool also for the same purpose. So I'll foam roll, like I said, glutes, quads, hamstrings, calves. Really focus on the lower half of my body. Upper half, there's some stuff you could do. I have some mobility things I do before certain lifts where I'm working on my, shoulder mobility. But another great tool is a mobility stick. Have you ever heard of that?
I don't think so, actually.
So mobility stick, you can get it online somewhere, but it's also in some gyms. And it's like it's a long stick where it has some give to it, so you're able to kind of bend it a bit. And you could do like over the head stretches, bringing your arms all the way behind your back. You can stretch out your back by, you put the mobility stick on one side, and you just pull out. You just can contort your body in different ways. So I would say stretch your glutes out, stretch your hamstrings out, use the mobility stick, and do some foam rolling. That's a good little list for you.
Well, let's kind of transition more into, I want to still talk about your mental health and stuff.
Yeah.
But also, I kind of want to talk about kind of how you came about and how you kind of started to get known, and that is, I didn't even know this because you don't talk, like, you're just humble about it. I never knew that you actually won season 4 of Love Island. I never knew that, dude. Because when I met you, you're like, yeah, I was on Love Island. I was like, oh, like he was on there.
I barely say that too.
Yeah,
I barely say
I know
was
you
on
barely
it.
say that.
But yeah.
But kind of, I want to talk about before you got on it. What was your mental state before getting on it? Like, knowing you got the job and they wanted you to go on it. What was your mental state going into the show?
Yeah, that's a good question. This is a topic I like talking about even outside of just a show. The show was great, but before it was like a whole nother experience before the actual experience. So, my mindset when I knew I was gonna have a chance to be on the show, because mind you, the whole time, even when I was like on the location about to go against other people to actually get to the final round. So there's a bunch of rounds. So I knew they liked me during the interview phase, but I made a stance the whole time, which was, I'm not going to be anything other than myself. Because there's going to be questions. When someone asks you a question and you're like, oh, I could spice this up right now. allude to this. Like I told myself every question, everything that gets sent my way, I'm gonna just simply answer it exactly the way I want to, which is gonna be true to myself. I'm not gonna try to impress
I
nobody.
feel like you can always tell when someone's not true to themselves too,
Yeah,
especially in a, I wouldn't say environment that's already not that authentic,
but yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
yeah.
in those situations.
And I think a lot of people want, especially in those situations, to come across a certain way in
Mm-hmm.
order to get the approval of whoever they're
Yeah, they want
speaking
like a
to. Yeah,
persona.
it's a casting director. You
Yeah.
know what you're there for. So it's like, do
Yeah.
you like me? A lot of people like, do you like? They're gonna like me. Maybe I should do this, do that. And I didn't do any of that. So when it said, like, hey, we like you, like, next step, come out to whatever undisclosed location, I was just like, okay, cool. Like, I was very calm because I was like, I didn't do anything special. I just answered the questions the way I would. So my mindset was very at ease, if I'm being honest. I went into the process very, like, initially I didn't want to do any of it, but once I was like, okay, this is a real opportunity. I could be, positioned a certain way if I go on this show. I was like, all right, let's just go. Like, I do pretty well when I did all the work, and now it's out of my control other
Mm-hmm.
than what I have to do. Because I couldn't control the situation, what they were going to throw at me on the show, none of that. I can only control myself. So I was very at ease at that moment. When I actually made the decision to do it, I was like, cool. No nerves, bro. Zero nerves. Like, just went into it as me. That's the best way I can answer that.
I think that's honestly the best way you can go into a situation.
Yeah.
The older I get, the more I realize that as well. Is because when I was younger, I would definitely try to put like on a persona to
Yeah.
certain people and then be myself around other certain people.
We all
And I
do.
think as long as you kind of authentically go through each situation in your life, just the same as you always would, I think you'll probably get the best results out of it. It's probably why you won it in the first place, is because you were probably one of the most authentic people on those sets. So,
Yeah.
and I think there's, I don't want to say there's like a stigma to reality TV, but a lot of people don't take it that serious. But I
Mhm.
feel like when you win it, it gets a bit more serious and you can benefit a lot off of it. And I think that, what was your kind of mindset after winning the show? Did you have like more confidence? Did you feel a lot more pressure? Kind of walk us through like what those feelings like were to win it, and how you, I wouldn't say how you benefited off of it, but
Mm.
how many doors did it open for you? Did it, because I know you're an actor now,
Yeah.
and I know you dabble in music as well, like you were
Yeah.
saying earlier. Did it open a lot more doors for those situations, or did you still have to find yourself kind of fighting for more of those situations?
Yeah. It was an interesting time after the show because I didn't go on there with like, oh, I have this in the stash, so
Mm-hmm.
as soon as I get off the show, voila, here it is. I didn't have anything like that. Um Obviously I've always made music, so that was always in the back of my head. Maybe there's something I could do with that, but to be honest, after the show, it was, I would say, it was good, but I was at a bit of a standstill. I'm new to California. Like, I went on this show after being here for like what, maybe 3 months, and then
Okay,
I got
yeah.
put on this show. So when I came off, I was just like, okay, what is the route? Because I always knew, like, I've always done entertainment, some form of entertainment, performance based stuff. So I'm comfortable with that, and I knew I'm like, look, I'm in LA. There's gonna be opportunities. So I was open to a lot. Like, I was open to the idea of stuff, but I didn't know exactly what I was gonna do. So I was trying bit of some content creation, which is good. I like
Mm-hmm.
it, but I also learned, like, nah, I don't. If it's, I'm not trying to be in the business of something that's, I'm not trying to hit the algorithms. Like, I don't want that to be my on the top of my brain every day. Like, oh, what am I gonna do next for the algorithms? You feel me?
Yeah.
So, but I tried that. I tried a little bit of that, and I'm glad I did because I like doing that in certain regards. Like, but after the show, yeah, the mindset was, I'm always very um keen on what comes my way and what gets put on my table. So I was very, I was looking. I was trying to position myself to find the next move, and I did eventually, which is acting. Like, the acting, like, that whole door just burst right open as soon as I started thinking about doing it. And I guess I know I started doing it based off the conversations I was having, based off of what certain people who are close to me were saying and kind of nudging me into. And my sister's an actress also. It's always been around. It was just the perfect storm for that. But that didn't happen right away. It took a couple months for me to really figure it out.
Definitely. And I know we've acted in things together, so I've seen you work as well.
Yeah.
You know, what acting wise, like what is your, I wouldn't say I would say process. Like what's your process going into a role? Do you kind of learn the lines beforehand, or kind of do you learn it the day of? I know like every actor has their own process. Like me, like I always like to learn it the day of because I feel as loose as I possibly can. I don't get stuck in my ways.
Interesting.
It's a little bit more challenging, but I can pull it off most of the time. You know, what's your process like now that you're an actor? What would you say your process is like going into a role?
Yeah, it depends on how much time I have, but if I have a full rollout, I do have a one-on-one coach. So
Awesome.
Shout out Jeffrey, that's my guy. He really challenges me. I met him pretty early in the process of me becoming an actor, so I'm comfortable with him. He gets me ready for auditions and roles. So I try to see him just because, like you said, I think it is easy for a lot of actors to be too much into their head and second guess themselves. I would say I don't struggle with that. I'll be honest, I don't struggle with that. But I also value someone else's perspective because what I do struggle with, because we all have different struggles, my struggle is sometimes I'll make the decision and I'm like, nah, this is it because this is true to me, so this is how I'm going to. And then my coach will be like, well, look, throw that in there. Like, and I'm like, I wouldn't do it like that. But then I respect him so much, and then I'm starting to watch more movies, and I get some things you just got to put a little accent mark over. You know, some things just require a little bit more gaslighting, and, you know, maybe I wouldn't do that, but that might be the right decision. So that's really where my coach comes into play, and he really helps me out with that. Outside of that, I do this thing now where I act out the lines, but I have the script in my hand. Because I think for me, I've always tried, and I think a lot of people try to memorize the lines first, then act it. And I feel like when you do that, I don't know, there's something so freeing when you can just start acting right away while not worrying about memorizing the lines. Does that make sense? So for me, like, if I get the script right away, I'll read it once, and then I feel like I get good habits when I start trying to find the moments where I can really act, and I focus on the acting while I still have the words in front of me, and then the memorization comes a little bit later. So hopefully that makes sense. But that's been my problem. But I'm a premeditated murderer, bro. Like, I need to know what the body that I'm going after, everything about it. I need to know what it looks like, all that. So I can't do it on the fly like you. I could if I have to, but my ideal rollout is really kind of just dissecting the script and doing those exercises, you know, with my coach and by myself.
Which is just as great of a process, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like you know, for me, if I was to get like a bigger role, say like the short film we did, that was like on the fly for me. So it was good for me because I had to, like, that's my process anyways, just kind of learning on the fly, because I feel like I won't be so in my head about it. But that's like personally me. You know, not everybody will be in their head about it. So I think, you know, more or less, I think your process is just as great. I think a lot of actors have that process as well. Like, I know there's some actors that like will prep for like months if they can. You know what I mean? They'll dissect it like you said. And what would you say, kind of leads me to my next question, what type of roles do you enjoy doing, and what type of roles do you not enjoy doing?
Well, I'm so new right now, I think, even though I feel like I made a lot of progress. I know I made a lot of progress, but I'm new still, and I'm only saying that to say I'm still finding my range right now. So I'm taking all roles, just send them my way. I recently, in the short we filmed, that was my first time crying on camera. Yeah. And it was like a smaller role in a good way, because I just had to focus on the emotion, and it was more important than what I was saying for this particular role. So that was different. If I answered your question, like, that was an uncomfortable situation to be in, but I ended up doing it. So I figured out, a little bit more about my range. So I don't know, man. I do enjoy. I love comedy. I love. Yeah, I feel like dramedy might be a nice little. Like that's just such a seamless pocket for me. I enjoy comedy in general, and I feel like I have the timing for it. I feel like I have the perspective of it for it and all that. So I think that's a seamless lane for me. I want to explore more like thriller roles. Like I have something on the table actually towards the top of the year, which would be a role like a thriller special ops type of role, something
cool.
like that. So I think that would be interesting, and and I want to jump into that bag more. But I'm taking all roles right now. I'm still finding my real lane right now.
I'm excited to see it. Probably in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Because it takes forever for these movies to finish.
It does. I got patience though.
Yeah. No, same here. I mean, you have to in this industry, honestly.
Of course, big waiting area. That's how it feels. Just you'll get it eventually, but you're gonna have to wait for a little bit.
Those who wait.
Yeah.
And work hard. But kind of going back to fitness though, do you think you being so physically fit and mentally strong benefits you in these roles? Like it helps you prepare better, or do you feel as like doesn't really make a difference?
It's my edge, man. It does make a huge difference. Yeah, I mean, once again, it's just something you can hang your hat on, and you can have a level of pride in, because you are controlling what you can control, and you're gonna feel better. You're gonna put your best foot forward. It helps with confidence. I mean, it's a 360 thing, man. When you take care of your body, and then the mental, like there's actual like biology will show you like the benefits of working out, like what that will do for your body, what that do for your hormones, your dopamine rush, all these things will improve when you are taking care of your body. So yeah, bro, like not only mentally does it helps me feel like I have an edge, but like scientifically I do also. My energy's high, I know I could control my breathing, I could control my heart rate a bit better. I'm gonna start doing this. I was joking with someone like, I want to just like do my lines in the cold plunge, do my lines in the steam room when I'm under stress, and when you want to just think about your body or think about how tired you are, I'm going about it like that. I think that'd be
onto something.
Yeah. There's you're definitely gonna be more sharp, and I do feel sharper because of what I've invested into myself and my fitness.
How long do you think? Because I know you're a personal trainer as well. What do you think are what do you think are like the worst don'ts, if that makes sense? Like when you see people trying to get into fitness and you see people trying to kind of upgrade themselves in a sense, what do you see a lot of people doing that they shouldn't do versus what they should do?
Don't compare yourself to other people. It's a thief of joy. Don't do that. Know thyself. So don't just jump into it. Like do a little bit of research, and you'll figure out where, or ask somebody. There's a lot of fitness professionals, or I'm sure everybody knows somebody that kind of takes fitness serious. And if they don't, reach out to somebody. Figure out, go on the internet or something, man. But I would say, don't compare yourself. Don't start somewhere that you can't sustain. And I think you gotta be real with yourself there too. Those are the big ones.
I think that's a really big one. Because I've tried to get into fitness several times in my life, and I always had this mentality of like go big or go home. Like I mean, I hit that with most things anyways, still to this day. But I think especially this year, especially after getting to know you, sometimes even just like showing up to the gym for like 10 minutes and just stretching like is enough for some people. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, you kind of got to build your way. You got to like build the momentum to get on a roll. And it kind of reminds me, I don't know if you heard of the 21-day challenge, but it's like, you can use it in anything, reading, fitness, a new hobby, whatever. But you try to do it for 21 days straight to create the habit. And then you go from there.
That's good.
And so I think, I think a lot of people don't realize is like the first step is just to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the second step is to take your time. And then the third step is to eventually, build a consistent, routine around it.
Yeah.
I think, thinking on routines is what in your routine do you enjoy the most? And what do you hate the most about your routine?
For fitness or just life?
Fitness. Let's do fitness and life. Let's do a two-parter.
The thing that I hate the most about my routine or dislike the most, man, I love my routine, man.
That's great to hear. Honestly.
I think you know what it is. The one thing that I don't like about my routine is that at times I feel like I'm living two lives, like, 'cause I'm super dialed in with my fitness, but then I'm also acting, and I might be out late or doing something with my manager, networking, and then the next day it's like the fitness routine is waiting for me, and it's very, it's asking a lot of me, and sometimes I'm just not built for my own routine because of the two lifestyles I'm balancing. So that at times that's tough. But then outside of that, what I like about my routine is that I made it. And I've seen it work, and it helps me a lot. It's what I lean on. So I've been blessed because we all come from different situations, and we all have different skill sets. But I've been blessed to have an athletic background, so I have an advantage on that. I've always been an athlete, but then I did take the time to learn and develop my knowledge in this field. So I do have confidence in my choices that I make. And I think a lot of people might not have that. And that's tough to buy into something that you don't have confidence in. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't know. You're like, I'll work out, but I don't know if this is actually going to work. And when the result's supposed to trickle in, like, that could be tough. But, like, once again, there's resources, and I took advantage of that. And I have a lot of confidence in what my routine is. So I just enjoy it for a multitude of reasons, but mainly because I have confidence that it's the right thing for me, health-wise, mentally, everything.
And then, kind of to build off of the confidence topic, walk us through a day where you wouldn't particularly have confidence on. Say, you just woke up in a really bad mood. What gets you out of bed? Like, what keeps you going? What gets you in the gym when you really don't want to do it?
What gets me in the gym when I don't want to do it? Just the big picture stuff, because your days are gonna fluctuate. Your mentality fluctuates a little bit too, based off of circumstances. So something that would cause me to not have as much confidence would be, a couple days stacking up where I'm not in the gym, or maybe I'm at events and I'm sipping a little bit too much, or I'm eating the wrong thing and I'm up late. Yeah, man, I think it's just when you start losing a little bit of control, for me, that's when confidence can waver, because it's a double-edged sword, because that's also what I lean on too. That's what gives me confidence, my routine. So when I'm not on timing with that, and I feel like I am failing a bit, that could affect my confidence for sure. But what gets me back in the gym is, once again, the proof of concept in what I'm doing, and I know how I feel when I'm at my best, and I know what I'm doing when I'm at my best too. So I really think, man, people gotta, everybody, and myself included, but really be aware of how you feel when doing anything. Think about when you have a full night of sleep, how you feel. Think about when you didn't eat that bullshit whatever at nighttime. Think about how you feel the next day versus how you feel when you do it. And then when you really check in with yourself and you're actually holding yourself accountable, you'll find the healthy, good, right things. And this all sounds easier said than done, because there's other components of this too, like your mental mindset. That's how that dictates how we make decisions. But I do think everybody can start somewhere where it's this makes me feel good, but it's also healthy. Obviously, there's a lot of things that make you feel good that aren't healthy. So try to find that combination for yourself.
I love that. And, I think, this is a little bit of a deeper question.
Go ahead.
If you're more comfortable with it, kind of walk us through. You might have already answered this when we were talking about you recovering from injury.
Yeah.
But walk us through like one of your darkest days, and how would you say, what was the best way you got out of that rut? Like, how did you get out of that rut? What did your, if you remember, what did your day to day look like leading up to you getting out of that rut?
One of my darkest days, just to kind of stay within this realm, definitely would be when I first realized I was injured and I was gonna be out, and then when my friends got, like, literally two of my best friends in high school, we did everything together, everything, and they were a big part of the basketball team too. So we were talking the whole time about, if the team does well, we go to states, we get more eyes on us. So like, it was a real brotherhood. And when they got kicked out and I was injured, yeah, it was rough, man. And that's my first time. Like, I never had like any pill addictions or anything like that, but they put me on Vicodin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I just remember that, like, it was weird. Even though I was young and, like, you have short-term memory at times, but, like, I just remember I was like, I was taking Vicodin in class. I had the pills. It was for my knee, but, like, it was, like, this, like, little crutch for me also, because I was so worried about the next season. I didn't know how good I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to come back. And that was just a dark moment, like, yeah, that was a real dark moment. I had other ones in college too, because I had 2 more surgeries after my knee, after the original one. But I would say just me being in my adolescence years, that was a bit darker than most, just because I don't think I was fully equipped for it. But what saved me from it was definitely supporting my family. Like, my family's interesting because we don't have the best of relationships with like the extended family, but my nucleus family, we are like a team, and we not on no, like, I actually initially started bringing up like the I love you, like we don't even do that really, but we show it through acts of whatever, support, being there for each other, the camaraderie we have is priceless. So yeah, it's never been like a direct thing. So like what I'm trying to say is I had the support of my family without them actually supporting me with the actual incident. It was just having them around, and like they're just there for you. So just talking to my mom about anything other than my knee would help me. So just them being there and being present and people I could lean on, that helped me through that process. And then like, I don't know, bro, I just kind of built a certain way where I don't care what happens to me. Like, give me 2 days, I'm gonna be right back. Like, I might be really, you might see me, I might look crazy day 2 after day 1 after whatever it is, but give me another day, and cause I obsess over things, so I'm gonna think of something I could do. I'm not gonna just sit there and be a victim to my situation, but you do all that being said, you still do need others, and my family definitely helped me out of that time.
It's good. I think family, even if you don't, like, even if you're not close to your family, as anybody else, or even if you're not close to your family, I think just having a solid support group can really get you out of anything. Yeah. Genuinely. Like, there's been a lot of dark times for me, like, since just living in LA. Like, this city's crazy. People here suck. Like, it's just not, people will ruin your day like that, without even them even acknowledging it. But, of course, that's not on them, So I think having just what's always gotten for me to get over ruts is also having that support system and being surrounded by people that care about me, that enjoy being around me. And, I think that is a great way to overcome stuff. I think it's unfortunate when people don't have that. And I think a lot of people in the world don't have that. But at the same time, you have to put in the effort to make those relationships happen. Yeah. So, it's not like a whole, like, oh, poor me, like, just sit around, wait for people to, like, respond to you. You got to, like, reach out. You got to talk to them, check in with each other every now and then.
Yeah, I just want to comment on that because I think what friends and family help, like, what they really help with during those times is realizing that we are a part of a group, right? It gets you out of like your own narrative. And I think people who isolate themselves can easily just fully go off the map because it's only them. And it's only then you only think about your shit. And when you have friends and family, like, yes, they're gonna help you through your personal shit, but it just lets you know that, like, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to fit in a bigger group in society,
Mm-hmm.
you know, fit in a certain way or find our place. And what's important to do is to find your tribe, and your tribe usually is your family because that's your default. But just like you said, some people don't have that. There's other people out there. Find your tribe, and once you find your tribe, like, then you're really doing like kind of what we are meant to be doing. We're social beings. We're not made to just stay isolated in a box. So I would encourage anybody who does feel isolated to, you know, it's tough, but try to find your tribe, and everybody's way of doing that looks different, but they're out there.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think, you know, kind of building off of family and stuff, what was your, you know, of course you had to move out to LA.
Yeah.
And I know your sister's out here.
Yeah.
But not all your family is out here.
No.
Do you think having your sister here really helped and benefited you?
Yeah. Sheesh. More than I even knew it would, bro. Yeah. Having her out here during a lot of these moments, transitional moments, tough moments, like I said, just her presence, and just her like, just me knowing she's out here. Not even like even being with her, you know, like just knowing she's out here, knowing that she's doing well for herself, and she's, you know, just like me, wanted more out of life and felt like she could come out here and make some moves for herself. Like, there's just like that common denominator between me and her, and it's amazing that she's out here, and it's been very important to have that. If she wasn't, at the end of the day, I'm still, you know, spreading my wings, but I won't sit here and act like her being out here isn't like a huge added benefit, man. That just, definitely important that I have somebody out here.
That's good.
Family wise.
Yeah. I think it's always, you know, kind of going back to the support system and stuff. It's always good to have somebody just in your corner in general.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's a relationship, friendship, family. I think it can get you a long ways in life. You know, I think for me, for a long time, you know, obviously before I got married, I moved out here and I had like nobody. Like, it was just me. I had to go home. I had to go make all new friends. I had to go find all new jobs. I had like no connections, nowhere. And I think it can get you really far when you have somebody that you've known not only for a long time, but someone that you can confide in constantly. You know, who moved out here first? Your sister or you did?
My sister did.
Your sister? How long was she out here before?
Almost a year before.
Almost a year. So did she have that kind of life though, where she kind of moved out here and didn't really have anybody?
Yeah.
Had to rebuild?
Well, good thing for her, she did move out here with a roommate.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's always great.
Victoria, I think you met her on set.
Oh, yeah.
That's her roommate.
Yeah,
so,
they're both very sweet.
Yeah. So, and they're both in the same field, so they definitely work with each other on a lot of projects, support each other. They have the right skill set for each other, and it makes sense. And she had that support, but yeah, even then, with all the endeavors that they're trying to do, you're gonna feel by yourself at times, because LA is tough to really thrust yourself out there.
What do you think is like the most challenging thing you've had to like overcome since being here? Before or after the Love Island?
Well, I moved out here with no car. And
Okay.
I lived downtown, and I worked
too.
in West Hollywood. So, you did?
Yeah. I didn't have a car out here till maybe like year 2 or 3.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah, dude, I was doing Metro.
Yo, you was doing the Metro?
Yeah, I was doing Metro and Uber. Well, because I was broke as hell too.
Yeah.
So like, I was going from like job to job, and I was also in school full time. And the school me and Joe went to is just like your schedule changed like every week. And like nobody wanted to work with that unless it was like a day job. If that makes sense, like day to day.
Yeah. You trying to work and go to school?
Yeah. And it was just like,
damn,
I ended up just taking out student loans, just using that money. But
do it the American way, bro.
Yeah.
Take out loans.
Yeah, take out more loans than I need. You know, now that school's over, I'm like, damn, I really didn't need to do that. But We live and we learn.
How far did you go on the train when you were doing the train?
It depends. Like I would only really have to take metro if I had a job to do.
Okay.
So, cause like like where my space is.
Yeah.
Like 3 blocks from that is the film school. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still trying to like move out of the space I'm currently in, but I always lived somewhat close to the school, so I didn't have to use metro constantly.
Well, I did. I was doing the bike, so I moved out here. I got a nice spot with my man Dane, who managed me for music at one point, and he was already out here, professional artist, great dude, and that was the most challenging time because I had the crib set up. We had a nice crib, nice spot, amenities, downtown Brooklyn. I mean, downtown LA, downtown LA, all that. It was lined up. But to get to work, and as a trainer, I have early mornings, so I had like this manual bike that would fold up, and I would ride my bike to the train station, Pershing Square in downtown, and then from there I would take the red line all the way up to Hollywood Vine or some shit like that, get off there, and then ride my bike 15 more minutes to my job. So I was doing that every day and doing that on the way back, and you can only imagine what you see on the metro at like 11 p.m. at night. It gets spooky over there. So
it does. Yeah. It's crazy. So my sister's in town right now. Obviously, she won't be here by the time this airs. But she's never been to California. And she's in the Navy, so she got stationed in San Diego. And she's like 2 years younger than me, 3 years younger than me. And we were just in Hollywood last night. And like right when it reaches like 8:30, all the weirdos start coming out at night, she just kept like looking like left and right. She's like, "Can we just like go back now?" I was like, "Yeah." Like I was like, "You sure you don't want to take the metro to downtown?" And she was like, she's like, "I will fucking slap you."
Yeah.
Like it gets spooky on these metro lines, man.
They don't show that in movies. They don't show.
Nah, dude.
I never.
Her first comment was like, "Hollywood's like nasty." Like I was like, "I told you, like I've told you for years, it's raunchy out here, man. It's nothing like the movies." I was like, sidewalks got piss and like shit all over it, man. Yeah. Homeless people screaming at you for coffee, man. Like,
bro, that was tough. That was a tough, cause like in New York, I had it all lined up. I lived 5 minutes from my job, walking distance. I lived in Chelsea, and I worked like 2 blocks away. I was doing really well with training. I had my own little studio apartment. Like life was really good. And then, but like something called me out here, and I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna just have to take a loss with this for initially. But like once again, I think I have an irrational level of confidence. Not even just confidence, but like it's like this purposeful naiveness I have. Like if I feel like, okay, if I just get a bike and go ride the train, and like I could get to work, which I was able to, but like I knew once I was actually doing this process of the bike to the train, it would be tough, but at the end of the day I had a solution, so I was just gonna rock with it. So I had that naiveness to not think it's gonna be that bad. As long as it's gonna propel me to the next level, I'm down for it. So
when I don't know, like I was coming from, I would say I had a very nice setup back in Oregon, because I lived in Eugene, Oregon, which is like I went to the University of Oregon out there for a bit, and my apartment was like a 1-bedroom 900 square foot apartment that I paid like $900 a month for, like, and it was like right next to the river. Beautiful. Like my backyard was like the river. There's trees. It was so pretty. I come out here paying like the same exact rent for like a shared bedroom, and like it just like I had like a little bit of anticipation that it wasn't gonna be what I thought it would be, but boy did reality hit me so quick, man. I felt like a right fist to the face, dude. Because I'll never forget like the first day I like actually settled in and just like walked around Hollywood. I was like, damn. It's like I kind of wish I was like back home, because it's just gnarly. It's just gnarly. What would you say is what would you say is your most favorite thing about living in Los Angeles, and what would you say is your most least favorite thing about living in Los Angeles?
My favorite thing about living in Los Angeles, it sounds funny, but it's like it's also a gift and a curse being out here, but people actually kind of like care and like are so caught up in like appearance of what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
that it helps if you're like actually trying to be out here and hustle, because
Mm-hmm.
people are gonna hear you out and like be like, oh, what do you do? And then they might be collaborative. They might want to plug you in with somebody else they know. And that's not a New York thing at all. Like, New York is very standoffish. People want to create space amongst each other because we're so crammed up
Mm-hmm.
usually. So I just love the collaborativeness. That's a word, right?
Yeah.
I just love that.
Pretty sure it's a word.
Yeah, you don't say that's a word. I love that part about LA. What I don't like is probably the same thing, which is like people
Relatable.
need to mind their business out here.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm gonna go with that. I think those are the same answers for both.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah. But it does have its pros and definitely has its cons.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you just I've been around enough people. I know how to operate with that part, so I don't mind it.
Well, LA is definitely a treacherous place to live, and I think it's you can obviously adapt to it.
Mhm.
For like kind of my final question, if there's one thing that you could improve in your life, what would you improve? And if there's one thing that you could take away, like a day-to-day issue, or just not even, I wouldn't say like a quality of yourself, but how you go about a situation normally, what would you improve, and then what would you kind of take away from it if you could?
Okay.
Or what you're working towards.
Yeah. What I'm always constantly trying to improve on is, I'll have a big, audition or something that I'm working towards, and it's very easy to just congratulate yourself with, either staying up too late, eating something, like whatever. I'm not saying we're human, so we should celebrate our little wins, but my big picture is so big, you know what I'm saying? Like, my goal is so big that I just feel like every moment is very precious. So sometimes I could, just kind of put the foot off the gas a little bit. So that's one thing I want to improve on, which is just keeping my foot on their necks. You feel me? But outside that, then the other thing was, you were saying
kind of like what would you kind of change about,
something right now?
Yeah.
I wouldn't change nothing, bro.
Good.
This is definitely the path and the goal. The goals are there, and this is the path I'm on. So, I know everything's in front of me for a reason right now. So to change that would mean to change what I'm doing right now, and I believe too much in what I'm doing.
It's great. And I guess I do have one more question.
Yeah.
What would you say is one of the greatest moments in your life, and what is also one of the best pieces of advice you've ever gotten in life?
Best piece of advice I got tatted from a family member, which is new levels bring new devils. That's it. It could be a little pessimistic, but it's really true. It's just how the world is. Like, because I think a lot of people, they strive for stuff, they get it maybe, and then they're met with like more problems, kind of, and like, damn, why my family turn on? Like, I just know humanity pretty well, man, and that quote stuck with me for forever. Like, I got it tatted as soon as I heard about it, kind of thing. So that's the best advice I got, because it does filter out any naive spirit that one might have. You just gotta stay sharp. And then what was
one of the best moments of your life?
Best moments of my life? One of the best moments of my life would probably have to be when and I'm not gonna say the vessels that led me to this, but when I really took a really strong look at myself and realized some things about my emotional intelligence, my empathy, like all these things started to improve after accumulation of things, and it just led me to be a happier person, kind of to let go of certain things quicker. I had a bit of a temper growing up, and I think I held on. I enjoyed to hold on to things sometimes because I had the right to.
I think all of us are guilty of that at times.
Yeah, I had the right to hold on to it, so I would just manifest this anger because it's like, yeah, I deserve this and whatever. And once I kind of broke free of that, it just opened up my life a bit more. So that's an accomplishment for me, man, because I escaped myself a little bit.
I think that was a great answer, and I think that was a great way to end it. Of course, thank you so much for coming on, man. I
Brother,
appreciate you, man. Much love.
of course.
It's been an awesome journey to get to know you, dude.
You know how we
And I
rock?
can't wait for the future to see where we both go.
Hell yeah.
And just again, thank you so much for coming on,
Thank you
ladies
for
and
having me.
gentlemen. Timmy Swerve,
Yeah.
and that is our first episode back.
Cheers.